Okay then. Hello. Um, we are doing an
Hey,
interview
hey,
for, for no reason. We just wanted to. This is a person that I met. Well, technically my friend, and then he invited to the other Discord we own. Um, and he's a person in, I'm pretty sure, Daisy, right? It's
yes,
Daisy.
sir.
All right. Um, he's just a very nice person. An amazing laugh. Dang. Yes, y'all here.
Thank
So yeah, we're just gonna be interviewing him. Hopefully, my parents don't walk in on me and tell me to do something.
I know. I'd be like, hey,
Because apparently, every
I'm
time,
currently in an
hello, father.
in an
Just
interview.
speaking about you. Well, technically about all my parents. I said I'm interviewing somebody for a video because they're a nice person, and then I said hopefully my parents don't walk in and tell me to do something.
I know.
Looks like you're just getting ready to shower though.
I know.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah, and then he runs a farm in Daisy, just helping people. So yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So first question: when did you start wanting to do that? Just helping people in general.
So it was, well, in general, I'd say that overall, whenever me kind of growing up, it was around I think whenever I was around 14 was whenever I really actually started to, find myself enjoying other people, enjoying people's stories in general. Whenever it comes to Daisy in particular, that was probably about 2 years ago now. It's like where I decided that, hey, you know what, I don't really have any, I don't have any, reason to kill people in the game, and I don't hold anything against anybody. It's kind of a part of a lot of my personal beliefs, things that I've learned in life. And I'm like, well, I don't really have any qualms against people doing wrong against me. I don't really hate people for hating me or doing anything wrong against me, especially because I just find that a lot of the times whenever you do that, first of all, there's a level of control that people have over you, because they're able to take away your peace whenever you allow them to actually make you angry. And more so, it makes you angry, which thus makes you get out of control. And it's anger for me has always been as of that time, right whenever I turned 14, anger itself was
so around my
terrible
age.
in my life. It's funny, I always tell people that I used to have a terrible anger issue. Of course,
I
there
do.
are a lot of people
I currently
who did,
do.
and then they grew out of it. Yeah,
I rage
and a big part of
at everyone.
If
you see in the chats, Coin, he likes my cousin, and if you can see the threats that I keep on making. So
well, and whenever the thing was is that a lot of it, there was
mostly
a
joke,
big part of it had to. And I've noticed that. I know that I see throughout the chats,
me and him are best friends.
How you joke with each other. Yeah, and the thing about it though is that whenever it came to anger, is that a lot of times what it does is in a way, it does, like I said, it does give people control over you, over your joy, your peace, your happiness, and it affects your judgments in that way. And more so, the big part for me was the hypocrisy that comes from it, in a sense. And just because, there's one of the things in life is that it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult to make proper judgments about people. And I'm not saying you're not supposed to judge people. It's funny because people say it all the time, but I don't think that most anybody actually believes that. I believe that I think that whenever it comes to judgments, making a judgment is necessary. People have to make judgments because you can't say that, you disagree with something and not make a judgment, because okay, well, whenever you have somebody who has such a radical disagreement like somebody who's doing something that is absolutely evil, do you not judge them and say, oh, well, it's like he's got his own beliefs?
Yeah.
No, it's like you'd say, I have to stop this. I have to do something against this. So everybody has to draw their line somewhere. So that idea of don't judge, it's like, well, I get it in regards to, yeah, it's like you're, try to consider, where people come from, that there are reasons why people think the way that they do. There are reasons why people do their things. Like, people don't really have, as an interesting topic, people don't have as much choice in life as they would think.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thought, because think of this. It's like you didn't choose to be born where you were. You didn't choose to not know everything in the world. When you were born, when all of us were born, we didn't know anything. And one of the things about people is that we gather information by observing it, by experiencing it, by seeing it, using your senses, right?
Yeah.
And that's important, because I talk about this idea all the time. Yo,
Hi, hamburger. What the hell? Oh.
Welcome
Hi,
back.
hamburger. We're interviewing Foley. Please don't cuss. Yeah.
Yeah. And
oh,
there's this concept. I guess he's
he didn't want to not cuss.
But there's this idea. He's like, yeah, no, that's not gonna.
He's like, yeah, no, not happening. Okay. Onwards with the wisdom.
That's why I came here.
It's the whole reason I came here, dang it.
It was gonna be the first word, and so I guess that's out. But
yeah,
that's just it. Again, like, you think about, well, if you didn't choose where you were going to be born in life, that means that you could have been born anywhere, which means that you're born within a particular culture. And one thing that I find always really funny is that I will go and talk to people in life, and when I chat with them, I'll ask them questions. Hey, what are your values? What do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? And seeing how radically people think from each other, and people who their ideas are completely foreign to me, is funny. Like, I asked one person, I was going around asking everybody this question. Hey, what is worth chasing after in life? What is worth chasing after? What
everyone's got different ideals about that. Yeah.
Right. But one thing that was funny in particular, that threw me off one day, because, again, different culture, right? Different people that I've been around. I was asking people, I asked one person in particular, what is your value? Like, what do you think is worth chasing after? And immediately they said, well, money. And I was like, at first I laughed, because to me, hearing that idea of, oh, well, chasing after money, is, it's not a good goal, because, money doesn't do anything for you. It's not a good thing to love and care for, because as nice as it can get you things, it's like, to love money has a lot of problems, because the moment that you don't have money, then it takes away your joy, and there's a lot of stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, they said that money was their goal, like that, money was worth chasing after. So I said, okay, well, maybe that there's more to it. And I said, so what is it about money? What that you think is so enjoyable? Like, what is it that you want from money? It's like, surely it's not the sake of money itself. Surely it's something that money will get you. They said, no, it's money. Like, I absolutely love money. I want so much money. If I could have $1 million, like, oh man, I would be set. I was like, well, what would you do with $1 million? They said, I don't know. I'd figure it out once I had it. And it's,
you gotta have goals before that, though, kind of. So.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. I was like, no, it's like there are many things that you otherwise now in life enjoy, right? And and you want to have those things, like, that you like, just by, I know this person, they would go out and get coffee. It's like, you want coffee, right? Like, at the very least, something like that. It's like, hey, I can drink all the coffee in the world, whatever. Little things, like, money is not the end goal itself. Once you have it, it doesn't do anything unless you spend it. That's the whole thing about money. If you know anything about investing, holding on to money isn't exactly the greatest strategy for having a lot of money. Investing it is. if you learn how to invest money, you get more of it to be able to invest more and get bigger things, and it grows. Anyway, point is that that was a very different way of thinking. And then I found that happens a lot whenever you go to talk to people. Should be obvious, of course, but whenever I would go to chat with people, you'd have all these people who I would present an idea to them and they'd never heard it before. And it's funny because it's like, for me, it's like all these people that I'd been around, they all understood these concepts, but then you go to an entirely different area and they've never heard it before. They've never heard these ideas before. And you think about that. If they've never had the same thoughts as you, if you present a thought to them, they're like, hey, I've never thought about that before. What if I'd never come? What if I'd never arrived and told them and asked them? Then the thought might have never come to their mind. And that's just it. It's like there are thoughts and concepts out there that could absolutely change your worldview, could change the way you think, and perhaps even give you this joy in life.
Yeah.
But if you don't ever get that thought, it will never happen.
Yeah.
You might stay the same person for the rest of your days.
Like you were saying about the money, the $1 million thing, you have to know what it is. Like, even I already know that question. I'm going to go to college coding because it's just a passion of mine.
Yeah.
I'm already trying to save money from that. That's the whole reason I do YouTube. That's the whole reason I do playing games, tournaments, things. Yeah. So I can go to college for coding.
Yeah, I have a problem where I always want to learn new skills, and so I focus on a few. I have like my piano classes, voice acting. I have my garden, which the garden, like all these things, like were things that I planned out that said, hey, while I'm not doing this, I can work on the other one. It kind of works out for my days. But whenever it comes to other tasks, I had to write them down because like I have to wait. In order to get to that later, I'm just gonna have to wait because you can't focus on everything, because if you try to dip your hand in every bowl here, it's like you'll barely get anything. It's like if you try to go everywhere and work on digging multiple holes, like they'll all go really slowly. And so it's like if you wanted to focus on a project, get good at that one first. That's way better than trying to divide yourself up so much. And that's a big piece of advice that I had to learn.
Oh, well, that's nice. So a question I asked beforehand, of course. How old are you?
I am 27.
Oh.
Yeah, I was born March 30th, 1998.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, it's like nowadays I don't really celebrate my birthday too much. Whenever it comes around, maybe like some of my family kind of say, "Hey, happy birthday," but for the most part, like it's another day for me. But I always love marking other people's birthdays to be able to try to reach out to them. Hey, I want to recognize you today.
Mm-hmm.
It's meaningful to me.
Yeah. So. Oh wait, no.
No, do you have any other questions?
Continue.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. yeah. And so that's one thing. In fact, one thing that's interesting is a lot of times whenever it comes to conversation, right, is funny enough, I'm not actually particularly great with conversation myself. Like I love people. Don't get me wrong. Like I love people, and I have these moments where I'm really good at conversation. But then there's just sometimes these moments where I have nothing to say, and I find that funny, because it's like there's so much that I want to chat about, with people. I love to hear people talk about their own passions and share their ideas. But usually I'm the one doing it. Usually I end up being the guy like verbal vomiting all of my all of my thoughts and passions, on people. I always find that funny. And that said, I did want to ask you too.
Okay.
What is your particular goal in life? Like once you do have, let's say, your coding, what do you want to do with that?
I would like to become a developer for games, maybe a company. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be really nice. I mean, and overall, like whenever it comes to like design, like I had tried to, whenever I was trying to divide up everywhere, and why I said I had to write everything down, I actually did go to look into coding, and there is a website called boot.dev that teaches, I want to say they teach JavaScript and Python. They have courses that are for free that are very interactable, and I liked it. Like, it does teach a lot of coding very simply, and I like that kind of stuff, but boot.dev was one that I was looking into because I wanted to be able to use coding to be able to create things like mods
Yeah.
for games. Like, whenever thinking about, like, I have a animation tablet to my left, and I usually use it as a second monitor for the moment, but I wanted to be able to voice act and animate, as well as create little content, here and there over time, as I try to figure out more on saving time. Like, how do I change my life in such a way and mold it to such a place where I can do what I enjoy all the time, and then have time for projects like that, to add more to, like, say, YouTube and content creation, to be able to just give and entertain people. But that was a whole thing on its own.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions for me that you'd like to share? Anything more that you'd be like, oh, well, what does Foley think about that?
Well, I mean, little funny thing, about the other day, me and Foley were talking, and said something about somebody, like a coworker, recording a video of you singing, and everybody's asking you to sing now.
Yeah. So at my job, right, and I won't share it too much just because, like, I've already, like, from little things, like that, you'll have people that I've had. There was a TikTok of me. Funny enough, there were a couple of things here and there, but at my job, one of the things that I used to work janitorial maintenance. I used to clean up around our site, and one of the things that was funny was that I was like the happiest guy at work.
Yeah.
I always enjoy myself no matter where I'm at, and so I'm like, I'm singing while going down. I don't care who sees it, right? And while I'm going around, I'm sweeping up and mopping and doing whatever I have to, just cleaning things. And one day while I was singing, I had somebody, whenever I turned around, who was recording me, and I was, what was it? Let me think. I was, what song was I singing? I think it was Frank Sinatra. My Way. I was singing My Way, and so while I'm singing, I turn around like, I did it my way, and whenever I saw they were still recording me, I just looked at them. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew.
Just like,
and
roll with it.
It became a thing. Yeah, I rolled with it. I'm like, whatever. I'm not embarrassed, because a lot of people, oh no. But I started to sing directly at them, and what was really funny from that was that people started coming to that place and said, "Oh, it's that guy who sings," and people would wave at me. They'd say hello, like, hey, the guy who sings. It became normal, and I find that really cool too, because it's been a consistent thing where whenever you stick out like that, people, they notice, and being able to entertain people, because that's a big thing for me. I always act goofy. I love to act goofy in front of everybody and make a fool of myself, because people find it funny, and they're like, I like that guy. He's hilarious. And so whenever I would sing while going, hey, how's
Hello.
it going?
Audra, well, Coin, whatever the hell I'm supposed to call you on video.
Yeah.
I'm
Basically, we're
interviewing
going through an interview
Audra.
right now, just to let you know.
Well, no. Oh my god, I just
If
said
you
his
have any
name.
questions.
You're going through the
I'm interviewing
processes
fully.
of the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there was that person. I'm pretty sure you said that their kid, like, asked to sing for their kid or something.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened was there was a bus, right, that came to our location, and this bus unloaded a whole bunch of people, and there were two kids that whenever I was cleaning up, they saw me, and one of the kids comes over. He's like, "Hey, I brought my friend over here so I can. I knew that you were. Are you that guy that sings?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Hey, I wanted you to sing for my friend," and so I just picked a song. Like, one of the first things that came to my mind was Fallout. So I'm like, "Let's go, Sonnen. It's good for you. Let's go, Sonnen." And they both started laughing, and he was like, "You're awesome, man." We high five, and again, that became a normal thing where people would come up to me and they'd be like, "Hey, it's like, hey, you still singing?" Like, "Yeah." It's like, I still sing all the time, it. And another thing that was funny is another point. I would what was it? I worked at a car wash at one point.
Okay.
And the funny thing is that, like, I've had a few different jobs here and there, as I would move, and overall, like, never came to the car wash. Oh my goodness, it was such a good job. Like, I was getting paid quite a bit, and it was nice. But the thing is that, like, while I was at this car wash, there's a moment where you're calling these cars into the car wash, right?
Yeah.
And while you're calling them in, you have to make sure that they're on this rail, because that rail is going to pull them through.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to point at the signs, right? It's like you have to put the car in neutral, hands off the wheel, feet off the pedals, and turn the wipers off, right? And it was really funny, because me, it's like I would point at it and I would dance whenever I'm doing it. I'd do it like I would over exaggerate it. I would point at the signs, and I'd try to find different ways to do it all the time. And one day, there was a person who, they started recording me, because apparently they had been through before, and I do it with every car. I would do it with every single car.
That must get tiring. Must have got tiring, though.
Not for me. It's like I do this so often. Like, people talk about how I've got way too much energy, and I would do it like all day, basically. And at one point I had to do it for about 6 hours. 6 hours of me just sitting there doing that, and it was. And it's like, I find, again, unique ways to do it. But one person ended up recording me, and when they were while they were recording me, they were following me whenever I would go by their car. And what was funny is I walked around the other side of the car, because we have to look at it. We're inspecting the whole thing, trying to say, okay, is there any damage on the vehicle? We want to make sure to point it out before they go through. That way, liability stuff. Well, I'm like walking around, I'm looking at this car, and by the time I got to the other side of the vehicle, the passenger
I made
side,
Coin be quiet. I forced Coin to be
there you go. By the time I got to the passenger side of the vehicle, I started dancing again, like just a little dance, being goofy again. And they followed me over there and they recorded me. And so the thing was that later on, I heard from my manager. He said, "Hey, so did you know that you're TikTok famous?" I said, "What? What do you mean?" And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And he said, "Yeah, so somebody had a video of you," and he pulled out his phone and he showed me this video of. It was a video of me doing my whole routine of pointing and eventually walking to they put music to it. They put this music to it while I'm dancing, and it made it like fit so perfectly. And apparently that ended up getting 800,000 views.
Oh.
It got 800,000 views within a month.
Oh.
Well, less than a month, really. It's like it was actually within like 2 weeks. It got 800,000 views. I was
Yeah,
like,
but about a month.
okay, cool. Then, yeah, about a month. But yeah, you basically had 2 weeks that got 800,000 views, and you had all these people who were like, I want to go there, and I want to go to that car wash. I want to find that guy. And so people nowadays, like even just the other day, I had somebody they're like, oh man, like I just they caught me whenever I was getting off of work and I was walking to my car, and they had already gone through the wash, and they come around and they said, it's like, oh man, like we didn't get to catch you in up there dancing. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, and I started telling them, like when they might be able to catch me, But yeah, it was funny. I really like that. I really like that job. I really like that whole thing. Again, a lot of people would point it out, where hey, this guy dances for everybody, and that was one of the things whenever it came to DayZ, because in this interview we haven't actually even talked about DayZ.
Yeah, no, we haven't even talked about DayZ yet. My battery is at 50%, now it's at 15. I just had to go get a charger. Yeah, and we still haven't talked about DayZ even, so...
But I'll let you guide the conversation, because I'm bad at taking over.
It's alright. That's the whole thing. I'm very socially awkward. Don't make me talk.
Don't make
Listen, this is why we're interviewing you. Surprised I even have a YouTube channel.
Oh no, it's like your YouTube's gonna blow up one day. And I loved that about YouTube, where a lot of people who otherwise were not that great at first, who the way their mannerisms, like what I watched Markiplier whenever his YouTube channel was still young. Like a lot of people, I found him whenever Amnesia was a big thing. So whenever Amnesia: The Dark Descent was a big thing, I ended up finding his channel, and you could see the difference between the way that he talked then and the way that he is now.
Yeah.
But he stood out, he stood out again. Like he was goofy, his reactions were big, and back then, of course, scary games were more scary to him, at that time.
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of momentum from it, and found out that hey, he's actually kind of a fun guy. But you see his personality change from it. And so that's one thing I love about YouTube, is that from YouTube, people started to change, and become better in regards to social interaction. And I kind of like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So what I've taken from this, you just whispered Daisy.
It'd be like, I want to talk about Daisy.
Just like, let me talk about Daisy already. No.
Okay, so that's a Daisy thing, right?
I server muted the person who joined already, like before he could even talk. I don't think he liked that. Anyways, or it might have been Coin getting on that account, because it's still his account. Anyways.
Where's your playlist?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Mountains?
I was fearing this
Or
moment.
just into daydream mode while you're stuck in
What's it
traffic?
called? So
With over
for
4,000
the
hotels worldwide,
music,
Best
I just
Western is
used
there to help
YouTube.
you make the most of your
So
getaway.
and I don't have YouTube
Where-
Premium, so I have to just skip
And
ahead.
the only thing better than
Not sponsored, everyone.
It's not sponsored here. I don't even have a single subscriber. I don't think this is sponsored. I deleted my other one. on accident.
It's like I don't even get money for that ad. Somebody else does.
Yeah. So based off of what I just heard, I would think you are like popular in your community, right? Kind
Yeah,
of.
it's like I've been.
Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of people,
Yeah.
who've noticed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was so. There are so a couple different things about that is around my area. It's like I'd become known because I would otherwise sing around the store, And then I would also later on, whenever I went to the car wash, I was known for being that guy who dances at the car wash, and people laugh all the time. I watch them, people started pulling out their phones. My manager told me that people were saying, "Hey, is that guy who dances at this car wash?" And it's like you'd have people who apparently, like, I started hearing this afterwards, that people were specifically trying to find me. They're trying to come to that car wash because they saw me on Facebook and they saw me on TikTok. You'd have these people who they start to notice you because, again, you stand out. And it's like, well, a lot of people are terrified of that idea of acting wild, which is funny because, again, it becomes more endearing whenever you're okay with being yourself, when you're okay of being that person who's otherwise embarrassing, but not in a cringy way. It's like whenever you're doing it, like a lot of people, they like, oh no, I'm not going to sing in public. What are people going to think of me? I used to have that thought, and then I said, well, I don't really care like what people think of me, and what are they going to do? Like, if at the most part, like hopefully I have a good singing voice at the very least, right? And the funny part about it was that because I got to sing so much at work, I started getting better at it because I started practicing. And there's a particular school, an online class that I was going to take on singing, and just by taking a little bit of time, even just 1 hour, I was able to learn in singing how, like, a good tip that helped me to actually explore my voice, and I improved from that. And again, like, people were already saying that I had a good voice, but then I started to get even better, and big part of it was, like, I would record myself, I'd listen to myself, and then I'd tune my voice, and I'd try to hit certain notes that I otherwise, try to hit notes that I otherwise couldn't, that I had a hard time with, and I'd find these areas of my voice, of my throat, that I didn't even realize that I had, that I didn't realize that I wasn't utilizing. And, it's that kind of stuff. Again, like, from going around and singing at work, I got better at singing, and people started to recognize it. And that's not something that I'm, oh, hey, look at me kind of thing, but it was like, that's just how it works in life. And I like to experience things and then tell people, look, this is how it works. If you want to, like, for example, if you want to get on YouTube, this is how you do it. If you want to get people's attention, this is how you do it, because I've done it. Like, these are ways that you can do it. This is how you can do it. I like getting better at skills and then teaching them to other people, because I don't want to be the only guy who knows it, where everybody's looking at me and saying, well, how great are you, Foley, how amazing are you? It's like, well, to me, the thought is always tragic of, like, well, no, not how great am I, look at what is possible, look at what you can do. It's like, I want you to have great things. I want to help build people, and that's a big part of my personality.
Okay. No, wait. Continue.
And a lot of that translated in get, for sure.
What's it called? I am very much polar opposite of that.
Ooh, what's it called?
I was taught, because when I lived with my grandma, I was taught act like normal, I guess, in public. I don't even talk barely, unless I'm with my mom at the store. Then I annoy her. She's in here listening to me, and she said relentlessly, scraping spaghetti into the trash over there, washing dishes over there. Anyways, yeah, I'm interviewing somebody. Okay. Love you too, Mom. This is what we were hoping wouldn't happen, dang it.
Oh, yeah.
So
I like.
So finally,
This
so
moment
after
finally
finally, you're after you're whispering, what made you start playing Daisy?
So originally, I saw like whenever I found Daisy, I thought, okay, this looks like a fun game. Like it's interesting, and I watched some people playing YouTube, and I was like, this is neat. It has some good concepts to it. And for me, it's like I always love in any game the concept of having a sniper and having stealth. And I was like, hey, well, this is kind of open. It allows for combat. Like this is kind of neat. Like, why don't I go ahead and jump in? I had all these thoughts of, well, I want to see if I can go into the forest and survive in Daisy and become this lone wolf survivor sniper character, where I wanted to look at a city and plan out my attack on it, like
World
what do I need
domination.
and what to go after. And the thing was, in a world domination. Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, I want to see if I can just survive by myself, and basically be all hidden and in secret. No one will know that I'm here idea. And, it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm going to go kill other players. It was more like, hey, how do I do all of this without actually being against players, but just for the sake of surviving? Because a lot of people, that's what the game is very well based around. It's a lot of survival aspect. There's PvP for sure, but the idea of getting to live, is kind of a big part of it. And Daisy, the way that they advertise it on Steam, is that it's a harsh world, where you're gonna have to deal with other players, being other violent players and like harsh survival where you're gonna struggle. And it's got a lot of that. But one of the things that I found funny about it later was that really it plays out like a sandbox. You don't have to go around and kill everybody, and you don't have to base everything around building a base and then trying to go loot gear so that you can go raid other people. It's like that's a very common way of doing it, but it lacks creativity. It's like that's the stock standard of what most people do in DayZ. So for me, I started playing DayZ, and I had no idea what I was doing. And DayZ doesn't teach you how. And just like anybody else, I ended up dying of starvation, of diseases, infected, other players shooting me on sight, other players betraying me. And particularly those last ones, it's like never bothered me. Like people killing me, there's always this understanding of
survival of the fittest, I guess.
It's like of course they're gonna, of course it's like they're gonna do that. Like they're like, because I can even see it, because I understand people that it's like whenever it comes to shooting people, like there's a whole reasoning behind it. Like I was able to put myself in their shoes and say, okay, well, they shot me, they don't know who I am. First of all, they're gamers, and shooting people in general is they're gamers. It's like shooting people in general, like there are things
Agreed.
I'm muting you again.
There are things about it that are just, at times it's funny. It's funny to do it. It's fun to do it. You get stuff from it. You don't die. There are a lot of reasons why to do it that are, reasonable. Like there's a lot of reasoning to it. But also, at the same time, there is a lot of weakness to that level of thinking. There are a lot of problems with it. And so for me, like there were some things in regards to technical morality in that sense. Because here's the thing. I always loved being and seeing character in people that said, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do what's good, even if that does cost me. Even if all of the good people die, at least I die the good man. At least I die with honor. At least, it's like if all of you kill everybody that's good and end up in a world with nothing but evil people, then let that be your punishment. You're going to live in a world of constant struggle. That's going to be yours, but I will have been a man that brought peace, that did right by people. And so whenever it came to me, to playing the game, I said like, well, I understand why they're doing it, and so I can't say like, shame on you, evil person, like evil man, like, and let me hurt you verbally because I don't have the strength to shoot you. It's like I don't have anything.
I don't have any
I'm
weapons. Hold
completely
up, let me just
unarmed
be mean.
I'd like to
Oh my
add an
God.
input real quick.
Turn
when
that
I first
off.
met Foley, I honestly thought, is it on? Hold on, let me check. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh
I
my
thought it
God,
was
that's
off.
perfect. That is
I'm
perfect.
so sorry.
Dude, that's why we kept on muting you.
I'm so sorry. I keep trying to turn it. I keep trying to turn it off, and it keeps going back on. I'm so sorry. Okay,
You're good, go for it.
what I was trying to say. When I first met Foley, I honestly thought, okay, this dude is wearing hazmat gear. He's probably gonna kill me. But then I realized, then I just see you. You don't have any weapons on you. All you have is a broom and.
Shut up.
All you have is a broom and
I'm
a.
muting you until I can, what's it called? Explain this. So for a little background for the viewers, Angel of Death, aka Coin, is the original person who met Foley and invited him to this Discord. Well, not this Discord, but the old one. So yeah, that's just a little bit of context.
Mhm.
Okay, now you can talk again.
There you go.
So when I first met Foley, he was wearing hazmat gear, and he was at this farm that he had, the pumpkin farm, and he had no weapons on him. All Foley had on him was either a broomstick or a stick with a pumpkin on it. That's all he ever had. I never saw him carry a
Hold up.
weapon.
Also, hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
and so-
Also,
Go for it.
so a little thing that's I think is hilarious about Foley. So I'm not gonna try to find messages right now because I don't want to look through the chats because it's got a bunch of the chats that
Yeah.
they're in has a bunch of my friends and people's faces. So yeah, it's just a bunch of photos from
Yeah, yeah.
the school thing that got posted. So I said I was gonna get
Yeah.
number 1 player in a game I play, and then he says I'll be your cheerleader and something about pumpkins that was just funny. It was just
Yeah, it's like I'll be the guy out there with
Oh, yeah.
pumpkins.
Yeah,
and
you're-
instead of pom poms.
Oh, you said you would be
kind of
you'd
funny.
be waving pumpkins,
That'll be my.
and it's just funny.
Yeah, I'll be the guy waving the pumpkins. Yeah. Whenever it came to DayZ, it's like the whole thing is that a lot of what I ended up doing was practical, right? Like I had a self-defense rule at first. Whenever I first started, I was like, well, I have to be able to protect myself, right? I have to be able to protect myself so that I can protect other people. But it was funny, the more that I did that, the more that I was able to observe how it caused problems. And that was just it, is that it's funny because the original logic, let's say normal player, let's say I would have gone the route that any other person would have. You go in, you're constantly dying.
Yeah.
I mentioned that earlier, right? You're dying of starvation, players, and whatnot. And what does that do for you? Well, whenever you're constantly dying, you start saying, well, first of all, let me learn the game. Let me learn how to survive because I don't know why I'm getting sick. So people go online, they start finding, videos, and then they come back, and then once they learn how to survive, yay, good, you know how to survive. But then you go to talk to other players because you're like, good, I'm confident in my survival now. Let me talk to somebody. You talk to them, they seem kind of cool. They run around with you. They, you get gear together. You run to a particular place, and they let you into their base. Then they kill you. They take all of your stuff, and then you
Kinda like trust
officially
farming.
been betrayed. It's like, well, okay, yeah. It's like, oh shoot, I just lost everything. Like, well, that's the whole point of the game, right? Is to go out and get stuff. It's to get things to play with. That's just, again, like, you're basically throughout DayZ, I talk about it being a sandbox. It's like you're trying to find your toys in the sandbox. You're trying to say, this is a mechanic that I can use and mess around with, and that becomes fun. Like, look, I have this tool for this function, and it's like you create using it. You do something with it. Like you create, whether it be combat, by getting guns, and like you wanted to have people around you in order to, go out and get more stuff. You want to have somebody with you. And so what happens then is they got betrayed. So it's like, okay, survival of the fittest. If I keep trying to do this, if I keep trying to go and make friends, I'm gonna get killed. How do I protect myself against that? Well, I just don't make friends. Maybe whenever I see somebody, I kill them, because they could very well shoot me on sight.
That's not you though, so.
And yeah, it's not me for sure. It's like, but that's what happens is, well, here's the issue is that they said, well, now I'm gonna go and kill people on sight. So then what they did is they then created another man just like him. Yeah, it just became a whole cycle. Now you're going out and killing people. This guy comes up and waves at you, hey, how's it going? And you shoot him because you can't trust him, especially because people would also pretend to be new to the game. And so it's like you all have all kinds of deception, and so it's like nothing that you do I can trust. So I said this. I recognized that before I ever went to go fight anybody. But I remember I was running around with this one kid. Like, we were both having fun. We were enjoying each other's company. We were both pretty new to the game. And while we're running around playing, trying to find stuff to help each other, we saw a group of people. We both ended up getting shot by them, and I lost connection with him. With that new friend that I made, we both lost connection. And that is another aspect of this, is that people who are shooting on sight, they're like, oh, look, a group of guys, let's just shoot them. And they don't think of the consequences of it. It's like, and that is the problem. That's another moral thought on it, of you have all of these people who are getting hurt by being betrayed, and what they do is they then say, I cannot risk it. The thought that that person could be a good person is not worth my life. That guy's life is not worth my life. That guy having a chance to kill me is not worth my own. And the fact that it is common, and that's the problem too, is that it's not all the time, but it is common. The fact that I say he could very well be good, he could very well have help me be good in this world, he could very well have his own, we could work together, even maybe have the chance to, he could, me killing him could very well also make him a man of wrath. But even though all this could happen, I want to live, and I'm going to kill him. So I said, I don't care. I'm going to let people kill me. I am entirely fine with resetting for the sake of not harming anybody. And so after I died, I lost my friend. And that happened a lot of times, which is why I started grabbing Discord as soon as I could. I was like, now we're connected. You're like, nothing is gonna take that away. But it's like, well, now that I have gone in, died in this town and ended up spawning somewhere else, now that I'm here in this new area, what do I do? Well, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue on my same path. I found the first man, and I said hello to him. Hey, how's it going? My name's Foley. It's nice to meet you. And I talked to him. He was leery of me. He was very paranoid, but he gave me a chance. And everybody, this is the fun thing about it. And this is why I talk about, hey, you don't know how innocent that guy that you're killing is. You don't know who you're killing. I, being this man who is absolutely loving and giving and caring, everybody who gave me a chance allowed me to live. People who were good to live. And am I worth, that's a thing, am I worth life? Well, how do you know that that person isn't another Foley? How do you know that person isn't a good man who just wants to help people? Every person that you're killing, you're saying, I'm willing to risk it, I want to live. It's like, but you get to live forever. And again, going back to it, that guy, right? This guy, he gave me a chance. He was leery of me, but I would chat with him. I was really kind with him, and he's told me, "Hey, so, this is area is not safe. You know, there are dead bodies everywhere. You know, people are getting cut up. There's a group of cannibals that are in town. They're capturing players and eating them. And I said, "Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that. I didn't know." That
My
was a
eyes
thing,
just went
Daisy. Okay.
wide.
That's
My
good to
eyes
know.
just went wide. I'm like, what?
Hamburger be like.
No.
Who's
Hey,
Dante?
Audrey,
Not
stop.
know?
But there was the thought of like, well, we have these group of people now that are capturing players. This group of players that are capturing players, and he said that they were torturing players and then eating them. Like they were actually, playing with them first, and then they would eat them. And I said, okay, well, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't really know anything about the game. I don't know how to play. I don't know how to survive. So my only way of getting food is in town. So I suppose I'll take his advice. I'll try to find food in town, and then I'm going to get out as soon as I can. And I asked him if he wanted to work together, and he said, nah, I'm kind of on my own. Reasonable. And so he leaves. Not long before that, some guy, while I'm looking around, I ended up finding, as any new player does in DayZ, I found a motorcycle helmet, and I put it on, and I didn't know, like every player, that it muffles my voice. So I know. Hey, my name is Foley. I'm really nice. What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat your food.
You're getting kicked again.
Yeah, what you said. But I put on the helmet, and this guy, he goes to talk with me, or I say talk with me. That was a kind way of saying it. Like, he was like, hey, put your hands up. And fortunately, I learned that much while playing. I put my hands up. I dropped whatever I had in my hands at that time. And he was asking me questions, but I didn't know that I was muffled. And so as I was talking to him, he was like, what? I tried to talk to him again. He was like, huh? And he walks behind me, and he pulls out a pair of handcuffs. And me, the first thing that comes to my mind is getting captured and getting eaten.
Oh no!
I'm like, oh gosh! I'm not getting eaten today. Yeah, I was like, I'm not getting eaten today. I put my hands down. I booked it. I ran away, and my thought was, okay, I'm gonna find the closest shed, and I'm gonna hide inside of that. And so I did. Like, I went inside the shed that was really near. I was like, he's not gonna expect me to hide really close, and so I hid inside the shed. I'm like, okay, where is he? Where's he at? And I'm sitting there in suspense. Is he around here? Hear a couple footsteps. And he's like looking around for me. And I'm like, oh gosh, if I stay right here, then he might end up finding me. If I stay in the shed, he might find me here. And so I need to move. I need to get moving. So I opened up the shed and I began running. I just ran out of town. Like, forget all the food that I was talking about earlier. I'm out. Like, these cannibals are everywhere. I need to find a safer place. I just ran until eventually that place where you saw the farm is where I ended up. Here's the thing. It's like I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was shivering. I was panicked. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh gosh, adrenaline's running high. And I'm like, did he see me? Is he following me? Is he out there? And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna calm down and I'm gonna see if I can figure out what to do. It's like, I don't know that he found me, but I'm gonna try to look around the town. And ended up finding a farming hoe. And I read the prompts that I could create a plot. And I said, wait a minute. I can create a plot with this? Like, can I grow food? That's how I learned how to farm. And whenever I placed down a plot, I realized that I was able to do it again. And I was like, wait, it just allows me to place plots anywhere on this field. That is significant. Especially if I can make food. If I can grow my own food, that's like a food generator. And that'll get rid of the problem that I've had this entire time. So I filled out an area. I used that farming hoe as much as I could and made a whole bunch of plots. and I made food, and I said, this is overpowered. I have infinite food now. As long as I'm in this area, I don't have to worry about hunger or water anymore. And that started something. When I noticed that I was getting so much food that I couldn't eat all of it, I said, you know what? Why don't I go back into town and I start saving people from those cannibals that were capturing people, and I'll bring them back to the farm. I'll bring them back to the farm, give them food, and perhaps I can even find people that we can work together with, that I can work on projects with, that we could continue to go out and save more people. If I have somebody here to help me, then this could grow even more, metaphorically speaking, but literally too. It's like, I could make this entire plot bigger and bigger. And to me, that was worth doing. I was like, saving people, not going out and trying to kill people, but saving them. At that time, I still had weapons on me. Again, self-defense rule. I said, okay, I'll have a shotgun on me. But I also found out about rubber slugs, which knock people out. Problem is I learned very quickly that it wasn't really viable, because the first guy that I went to go talk to, I ran up to him, I said, hey, how's it going? I'm friendly, I'm not gonna hurt you. I put my hands up, right? I put my hands up so he would know that I would have to put my hands down in order to do anything to him. I put my hands up and I said, hey, I'm friendly, I'm not looking to hurt anybody. You know, I have a farm. Apparently there are a bunch of cannibals in town. They're capturing people and eating them. And so I've got a farm outside of town where you can come and eat however much you want. I want to be able to help people. I came here to be able to save people from the cannibals. And this guy, he told me this later. He said the moment that he saw a shotgun on my back, he was leery of me. And he heard me talking about cannibals in the town. He's like, I thought that you were one of the cannibals, Foley. He's like, I thought you were one of the cannibals, and you were trying to lure me in. Yeah, I thought you were gonna eat me. He's like, I thought you were trying to lure me away to your supposed pumpkin farm, because I mentioned the cannibals to him, and he's like, I thought you were one of the cannibals. And so but then he followed me. He said, you know what? I don't really have much to lose. I'll go. Like, I'll see what happens. He follows me, and sure enough, there's a pumpkin farm. And he said, I saw that shotgun on your back, and I was worried. You told me they were cannibals, and I was worried about that. When you showed me the actual pumpkin farm, I was like, wow, this guy's actually legit. This guy actually legitimately is trying to help people, and you then were so nice to me. You know, like, I don't find many people like that in DayZ. And I was like, yeah, well, I want to make things different. I want to change things a little bit. I want to be different from all that. Even if and this is a concept in life in general that I love. Even if nobody else is doing the right thing, even if the majority of people is going away from what's right, I want to be the guy who's doing what he's supposed to.
Yes.
Doing what's good. And so I chatted with them. I talked to them. I said, yeah, it's like, well, feel free. If ever you want to, you can eat anything that's at the farm. Feel free, because that's what I'm making it for. I'm about to go back into town and save some more people. Would you like to work together? Now, he wanted to go and do his own thing. And I said, that's all you. I want you to be able to play the game the way you want to. So go play, run around. If ever you're in the area, come say hi. And that started something. I started finding all these people started finding my farm. New players who were just running around, and they found the farm. They said, man, this is amazing. Like, I'd been dying all the time, like, struggling to find food. Then I found your farm, and I was like so happy to find it, and like, this is the best. And problem was, now here's the next fight. Here's Act 2, right? That was the beginning of the farm. All of that, that was how the farm started. That's how my whole goal of saving people became a thing. But this time I still had my shotgun. Rubber slugs, but a shotgun. So people started finding the farm. And now we have a problem of people coming in and none of us know how to play the game. I'm slowly learning things by playing through, and we're all doing that. And so we're like still dying of disease, but I knew how to get back to my farm, and so I kept teaching people, hey, here's some signs, here's some signs that you can use to get back to the farm. Here's the I Survive app that somebody showed me. You can use I Survive, which is a map of DayZ for anybody who doesn't know, and you can find the farm here in Berezino. And so all of my friends, I was helping them out. We were all surviving together, and they were having so much fun. Like, you have no idea how many times I've had people come up to me and say, people who are old, who'd played the game for a while, who said, like, man, this is the most fun that I've had in this game in a long time, and this is such a unique idea. This is I haven't seen anybody doing what you're doing in official. And then other people who are like, yeah, it's like, I kept dying, and this is the most fun that I've had because I kept getting killed all the time. And that's the fruit of what everybody else did. And most people would then say, it's like, well, if you get angry or upset or at the fact that you're dying all the time in a video game, well, that's on you. It's like, sure, I agree to the idea that, well, in general, the idea of being able to have peace even though you lose is good. But at the same time, it's like, not a lot of people are at that point where they actually have that characteristic. I talked to you at the beginning of this where not everybody grew up learning that as a trait, and some people, like what I had to whenever I had an anger issue, I had to teach myself out of it. And if you are enabling it, if you're actively trying to create negative emotions inside of other people, then you're actually reinforcing their character. And that's another part of it, and why I talk about the morality of killing people, is that you, just in general in life, you, by talking about negative things, you gift people, of course, there's joking, and whenever you understand each other's jokes, that's one thing. But yet, there's a concept.
Your voice is on, just
Oh.
Why do you keep on? Okay, I'm like, what do you keep
Should
on?
be off now.
Why are you muting? You don't need to mute.
He says it keeps coming back on.
All right.
Okay.
Before you start talking again. Oh wait, yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Audrey, you were gonna say something?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
But fully, before you start talking again, what's it called? A while ago, you mentioned, kind of like a chain reaction of being mean. I try to, people being, negativity, basically. Hello, mother. So, I basically experienced that too, because the game I play, Gorilla Tag, it used to be fun, but the whole reason people don't play it now is because people are just so mean in it. Oh my god, I hate ads.
But did you know we print
I'm going to
everything you need
throw
brand
ads.
Your business? We print
I was
banners
about to
and
make a
signs.
whole entire point.
We must have merch like tote bags,
I was
t-shirts,
about to
hats.
make a
Right
whole
now, new
entire
customers can get
point, and now
20%
I
off
got
their
Yeah,
order.
I did.
piece of
Visit
print ad.
We print it
Like,
at
bro.
Vistaprint.com.
Wasn't even skippable. Wasn't even a skippable ad. Anyways.
Whenever that happens, you could, whenever you have a non-skippable ad, you could probably just hit M and mute it for a minute until it's end at least for yourself, because you're probably just gonna edit that
this
out
video
anyway,
isn't getting
but-
edited. I don't like editing, and I'm not gonna send it to audio. This is just gonna be raw footage.
Okay.
Anyway,
Alright,
Audriel,
okay.
I will mute you again. Okay. I shall we. Anyways, so like like you were saying, Gorilla Tag, it's a very toxic
Negative.
game because it's a very competitive game. So what I do is
Yeah.
any new player, and also like you said that people pretend to be new. I do that so I can find and recognize the nice people from the mean people, and I, of course, report the. Oh,
You cut out a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways,
You're kinda cut out.
so what I do is I pretend to be new, but it's so I can find the mean people through the nice people. Of course, when I find mean people that are trying to like, because usually what people will do is they will tell you like some lie to like, say for instance, get out of the map, because people like doing that for some reason. I can easily get out of the map somehow. But anyways, really not supposed to do. I accidentally just clicked something on your thing. Oh, I clicked open in mod view. I almost clicked ban on accident. Oh no, server mute. I accidentally clicked on options and then somehow more options and open in mod view. I'm like, whoa! I accidentally clicked 3 things. But all right. Anyways, so yeah, of course, when I find mean people, I report them, because like, what they're trying to do is they're trying to break your headset. They will say, look down, and then look up very quickly. That will launch your headset off and break it. Obviously, I mean,
yeah.
I get why people laugh at it, because I mean, it's funny to see their headset just fling back, but when it happens to you, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course
Yeah.
I report them, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But also in
Yeah.
lobbies, when there's mean people, I try to be as nice as possible. And then I've made so many friends, like, I'm gonna screen share real quick. I'll tell all of the friends I have on Discord almost are, except for like maybe 5 things. Look, I'll show you. Oh shoot. Oh, look, this is what I accidentally almost did. I almost blocked you. Oh, whoopsie. So him I've met off of girl tag from being nice. And
Whoopsie daisies.
what the heck? Basically everybody down here, literally all of these people, I've met off of that game by being nice. So, I mean, it's a big thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
why be mean when, like, it's just.
Yeah.
Why be mean in a game that doesn't even matter in real life? Like, just because you get, like, tagged or anything, like, just because somebody did something, basically. Like, didn't do something, technically. Hold up. Okay, for a second I thought screen sharing stopped my recording. I was about to crash out. Anyway, I'm like, bro, what? Because it didn't show me the red dot above my eye that it usually does until right now. So yeah, I don't get why people be mean. But anyways, another question is, like, this is gonna be the last question probably. What mainly in life drives you to be the best you can ever be?
So, I think I talked a little bit about this before with our other friend here. So one of the things, well, I will say there are a few things to mention, that are like, how do I put this? So, one is this. Talk about my first memory. So, my very first memory, and I nearly forgot it later on in life, but then one day I was trying to think back, and I was like, hey, well, what is my first memory? And I had a couple of thoughts, and then one day it's like it came back to me, where I remember, picture this, absolute darkness. You don't have thoughts, you don't have feelings, you don't have senses, but there's this darkness, like you're asleep but not dreaming. And there's almost this weird sense that you are a thing that you're there. Like, it's so hard to describe, but it's like you're a thing. You're there, but there's not really any knowledge of the universe. Imagine like the universe doesn't exist essentially at this point. And then all of a sudden, you open your eyes and you're just seeing life is just here. All of a sudden, you're conscious. So for me, that was basically my first memory. I think a big part of the reason why I was starting to recognize that I was a thing is because there were some technically like really vague images prior to that I kind of remember that were there. I can't even really remember them in color. There was very like black and white, which for all I know also might have been a dream, but there were like these images that were kind of black and white prior to this where I was seeing something, but I didn't really know what anything was. Then all of a sudden everything goes black again, dark, and there's that sense of like I had some feeling, some sense. Then all of a sudden your eyes just open up and everything's clear as day. So me, I was laying down, I was in bed, and I was staring at my ceiling. I was probably maybe, I don't know.
Sorry for the random laughter. Sorry for the random laughter. I was thinking this whole time.
You're good.
Now I remember when. No.
Connor's thinking
well,
about little
technically, yes,
kids.
little kid me. That's horrible. Holy sh. Me just saying yes to that. Oh my god. Anyways, so I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. Wanna know my first memory I can think back to? It was me, and do not judge me. It was me
Go for it.
holding a handful of dog food, about to eat it. As a 4-year-old. Tasty.
Do you remember what happened?
No,
after
I don't.
that? Did you?
I don't
Did
think.
someone stop you?
I think my
You're just
sister
like-
came in. I think my sister came in and just like looked at me disappointedly.
You might have.
I
Your
most
sister
likely
does that
ate it.
every
I
day.
most likely
Your
ate
sister
it.
does that every day, Cricket.
You probably ate it and lost your consciousness as punishment.
God's just like, oh wait, did he just eat dog food? Never mind, you
Okay,
can't
no,
remember real
you're not-
quick. Stop remembering.
Is that?
Oh, you ate dog food? Oh,
yeah.
you're. Oh, and yeah, you're going back into
Go
you're
back
going
into
back
the
into your
darkness.
slumber.
Sorry, you're not.
You're not ready
definitely
yet.
not
You're
ready
eating
yet.
dog
Wait,
food.
Hold on.
You're still a little bit too.
Yes.
And yeah, and whenever it came to my memory, right, is I'd opened my eyes and I was staring up at the ceiling, and I started to naturally, feel, because obviously it's like I have covers, I have senses, I have all these different feelings, and then I could hear everything. There was a fan on in our room, I believe, and then I started to recognize that I could move. And so I started moving, and I took the covers off of my chest, right? And I could see my legs, I could see my body, and I started to just use my hands to feel. I started, just touching my legs. I started touching my covers, and I remember I put
Audrey,
my legs
shut up.
beside the bed. I jumped down.
Audrey, shut up.
What?
Shut up.
What did I do?
Never mind. Don't mind that.
But I jumped off the bed, right? And I started touching the covers. I started going over to my dresser. I touched that, right? You feel the wood of this, the carpet of that, and then you go over to the other. I started running around the house, and I started just using all of my senses to take everything in. It was exciting to me. It's like I'd never seen anything, and I didn't have words. for
You're just like,
everything.
wee.
Yeah, it's like, just like I need everything. I need everything. I need to accept. I need to.
I smell colors.
to
Anyways,
experience this, and so I said exactly. So I'm running around the house, and eventually I see my grandmother, and I ran over to her. Right. And
This mother.
I went to go. What? I started to go up to her like, what is this?
What
what
is
is
you?
this thing? And I started to,
Why is people muting? Why is people getting muted? What?
But yeah,
Why is everyone muting? What is going on?
I have no idea what to tell.
Wait, how did
Andrea.
Foley get muted?
Andrea.
I have no idea.
I can't
I'm
mute.
not-
I
can't
can't
hear
mute
either.
him. Oh wait,
Not
can
can't
I?
hear either.
Okay, now y'all are talking behind.
Can't hear or talk anymore. He can talk. He can just.
I know y'all
we
can hear me.
you, but you can't hear us.
I just can't hear y'all, but y'all can hear me.
Anyways,
You-
Yeah.
you-
undefinite.
There you go. So, right, I saw my grandmother, and I started to touch her leg because I'm like,
What is this?
What is this thing? And she looked down at me, and I looked up at her. Yeah, what is this? And she looked down at me. She said something. I looked up at her, and I couldn't understand what she was saying
Ba,
because
ba,
I didn't
ba,
know
ba,
words.
ba.
And so she said something. I was like, okay, whatever. And I started and I started walking away. Right, I just like, okay, back to what I was doing, and I started running around the house. And from that point, life started. Life began for me. I just was conscious from that point onward. I got to experience everything whenever it came to like going to school, whenever growing up and having to be around other people, whenever it came to
I'm
like,
just
having fun, things that I
imagining
enjoyed,
you
things
as
that
a
I
baby,
was
like
upset
how
about.
you
If I
sound, just
started
like
to
running around, and then in the middle of that, I just imagine you falling straight onto your face. I don't know why.
I've done that. I had a
Yo,
I
where's
had
the?
a-
Oh wait, what,
I
Liam?
had a what?
Where's Adriel?
On the call, dumb.
Yo,
Okay. Hey, Joel, you done to play some 7 days or?
Go on a private call.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing.
Alright, give me a minute.
So that said, whenever it came to that memory, right? So I had this moment where I just wake up for Liam, right? So I had this moment where I just wake up, and all of a sudden I'm experiencing everything, and I now all of a sudden have feeling like all of a sudden existence exists. I'm just conscious of it now, touching everything, feeling everything, trying to experience everything, and it's exciting. And I see life that way now. It's like everything is still exciting. These small things that everybody starts getting callous to, that they start, losing their joy of, and they're like, whatever. Life is terrible. You have people who get all sad and depressed, and like, oh, every day is the same. It's like every day is different, no matter what you say. It's like it is different. There are a lot of patterns that are the same. I get like there are some things that are boring. It's like, oh, I've done this before, but at the same time, you can still enjoy everything, especially the little differences. And still, it's a matter of teaching yourself that. But that stuff is very, very real. So whenever it comes to other people, at some point later on, I really started to think about this is one thing that's actually funny. Children, like kids, they have a hard time understanding that person over there actually feels what you're feeling too, and caring about it. So you can teach them. You can teach
Well,
a kid.
they got tired of that.
Teach a kid that kids
They said, yeah, boring.
They're gone. But you can teach a kid that, hey, yeah. You can teach a kid that he is making somebody feel bad. Hey, haven't you ever felt bad? Yes. Like, what's something that has made you cry before? I fell and I got a boo-boo and I cried. And like whatever. yeah. It's like you have that, like where you can tell them, well, that's what he's feeling. But the thing is that they don't know why they should care. And that's just a thing in life in general. And going back to DayZ, even in DayZ, why should I care? That's the thing, is like you at some point have to decide that it is valuable enough. That you have to decide that it is valuable enough that other people go through pain. But a lot of people, again, they're desensitized to the idea. They don't care about it enough. Like they're just like, well, I deal with me, I deal with you. If you get upset about things that I don't get upset about, then that's on you still, and like whatever. I don't care, I don't care how you feel and whatever. It's like, don't get me wrong. whenever it comes to feelings, there's a level of understanding that I have of feelings, which is to say that
Hi, hamburger.
it matters. Hello. There's a point where it matters, how people feel. There's certain senses that it does. But yes, there are times where it's like where feelings don't matter. Like, for example, it's like, oh, well, I have to make this big decision that could save lives, but my feelings are keeping me from, making that decision, and it's like, well, sometimes you have to go past your feelings and do what's right, no matter what, or sometimes it's in a bigger sense, it's like, I don't want to die. I want to continue to live on. I want to continue to experience, but I don't, I cannot continue. I cannot save people if I live. Like if you have a soldier, like if I don't act now, then this is going to cause the death of many people. If I don't act now, and it very well might mean that I die. And so you have to let go of your fear and go into it anyway and choose what's right. Children have to be taught that. I eventually came to the point where I learned that concept. I learned the idea that I myself have to... I learned myself that I have to care about other people because the thought that somebody else is experiencing the level of pain that I have in my past is terrible enough. The fact that pain like that exists should not exist in any sense. The amount of, I used to be super depressed, right? I used to be very depressed, and I used to have a lot of harmful thoughts. And it's like all of that came to a point where I finally said, I must stop that in other people. I must start caring for other people. Even if I have to go through pain myself, even if I have to take that suffering, if I can take the pain away from them and trade it for mine, then it's like saving me. I get to be that person that other people, that I wanted somebody to be for me. I get to be that guy. Because if nobody does anything, then we're all living for ourselves, and we're all constantly, hurting each other. Everybody's trying to hurt each other. Everybody's trying to fight for themselves, and they're constantly wronging everybody else. But if I change this, then at least I've killed a little bit of evil in the world, a little bit of wrong. I've made something right. Over time, I learned more about myself. I learned more about life, and I said, I'm going to change this. But a big part of that, and I'm going to be honest, a big part of that came to my growing up, which was religious. Like I say religious. I nowadays say I'm not religious, but I believe in Christ.
That's me. That's basically me.
Because the thing is,
I don't really go to church. I don't really participate in anything religious. I just believe.
Yeah. It's funny. Christians are the ones that bother me the most. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are a lot of things. Like, I went to church. I read the Bible a lot. I did. Over and over. It's like, I love the scripture. I love going over it. Yeah. And I thought about it too, because like at some point in my life, it became big where I was like, you know what? I've been going to church and I've been saying that I believe this, but I don't even know what it says. I just hear it from pastors and other people, but I don't know what it says for myself. And like most people, I said, nah, I don't care. I don't, whatever. Just let that pass. Like I'm a believer. It's bad for me to not. It's bad for me to say that I'm not a believer. And so it's a good. I was taught to believe, and so I'm just going to believe because that's what I'm supposed to do, because that's what I was told, and I didn't have real foundation of reason why. So later on, I started to realize that one day, and not to get too much into Christianity and whatnot, because
it's a whole entire
thing, but one day whenever I was Yeah, that's a whole thing on its own. That's like an entire conversation of its own. But the thing is, it's still on topic because I did still have to experience this as a life thing. So it's like I was in church, and one day I realized that everybody had all these people who were in the building who were, they're singing worship songs. That was the thing, right? You go to these churches and they're singing these worship songs, like they have a worship time, which I find silly in a sense, but not entirely, but in a sense. But this is the part that I found silly about it. They have these songs which say like, "We give our life to you, love you, worthy of it all, worthy of it all," right? Like this concept that apparently somebody is so good and amazing that he's worth giving yourself away to. More so that you love him because he's good. And all this, I started thinking, do you really think that way about him? I sing these songs every day because I'm supposed to. But do you feel that way? And at that point, I started to be with myself. I looked around who were saying, "Yeah, we give our lives to you." They're singing the song, and they've got their hands in their pocket. And then it's like, for somebody who's giving their life away to this entity, this person, you don't seem very passionate. You look like a normal person, a normal rich person. Don't get me wrong, whatever, like blah blah blah, judgment here. But the point is, I thought this person God sounds like he's somebody who's so amazing that you're willing to absolutely give everything in your own life. That's something which that includes even like martyrdom. You think about people who were willing to die for this idea, for this person. I'm like, no, I'm not going to say that that I don't believe. That's bad. It's bad for me to say that, but that thought bothered me. From that point on, that thought bothered me. So then I started later on, whenever I started to realize more and more of my moral system, what I was being taught and what I was constantly hearing, of like the church, like, hey, loving people, blah, blah, blah. Whenever it came to that kind of stuff, I saw that people didn't do that in life, and so I didn't follow it. And I like what atheists say. There are a lot of atheist comments that I absolutely love. One of them is this. A lot of Christians say that they believe in heaven, but they're afraid to die. Yeah. Goes to show how much they believe that there is one. They're afraid to die. Goes to show how much. And so with Christians, right? There's the saying of death has lost its sting. What is the sting? Fear of death. What is the fear of? What is the fear of death? What is it a fear of? It's a fear of exactly what I told you before. And I usually explain it like this. That moment of my first memory, opening up and seeing everything and having all of this, and imagine this. You have all of this now where you get to have. But imagine if I told you, it's like, okay, good. Go. Have fun in the world. Do what you need to. Find out what is right, what's good, and, follow the, do right in the world. Just know that one day you're gonna go back to that darkness, and it's never going to end. And there will be no more feeling. There won't even be a sense of feeling. There won't be negativity. There will be nothing. You won't even have the privilege of feeling pain. That idea, that is why I act extremely in life, because life is extreme, but a lot of people don't like to believe that or act that way anymore, pretend that it's not extreme. That's a harsh idea. That is the fear of death, the fear of you're going to be here, and then one day you won't. That idea of one day returning to the darkness. What if that's true in life, right? So in regard to Christianity, like the idea is that, well, what if that was never going to happen to you? What if it didn't matter anymore if you died or not? But you get to continue. That is why people are willing to die for God. Again, not to go too much into the religious thing, but that's that concept of, like, you have these hypocrites. Like the Christians were the ones that bothered me because yet they still act like other atheists. You know, like they act like atheists. They act like other people who like they act like radical. You know, whatever. Like they act like all these other people. They act like people, but they don't like to think of themselves like they are the same, that they're on the same level. They think that they're ascended at times, where they're above people, and they shun the evil people because they're dirty and they don't want to be around them. Me, I want to be around everybody. I want to be there with people. I want to love people and care for them. And that's where my moral system came from, right? Is this idea of I love everybody. I am called to love everybody. If you're evil, if you do evil, if you do wrong in the world, it's not a matter of me letting you get away with evil, but it's a matter of me saying, no matter what you do, this is what I want for you. I don't desire, like, I don't insult people. I don't call people an idiot, because the problem of that word alone, I don't curse and I don't call people an idiot. I don't do that, and I don't insult people, because the intention of doing something like that is to proclaim something that will hurt them. You become like a man who loves evil. What is that? What do I mean? A man who wants pain, who loves pain. You think that their wrong is good enough for you to start loving their pain. You think that them hurting you is suddenly a pass for you to enjoy dipping into evil, having that evil characteristic. Because, you know, the evil, they revel in pain, in suffering. You have all kinds of games which show the villain, right, who, like, they laugh at evil things happening because of just that. You know, like because they like it. And when you insult people, it's because you're angry and you want them to hurt, and you have a desire to be the winner. You want to be on top. You want to defeat them. Again, I can say, look, you, like, let's say somebody was in my Discord community or my Pumpkin Z community, and I can say, you are harming everybody else around you. You're killing people in this community. You're making their joy go away. You're turning them into people by your aggression into men of wrath also. And you're destroying a lot of you're destroying a lot of really good things here. And so as a result, I'm going to cut you out. I'm going to cut you off. It's not because I want to. I want what's best for you. I want you to have your eyes open and realize how bad is, how terrible evil is. And I want you to have the same eye-opening moment that I did one day, whenever I realized, oh my gosh, I've been doing this terrible thing this entire time, and I've been hurting people's lives, and I didn't even realize it. I used to play League of Legends, Call of Duty, and I used to be the guy who loved trolling people, who loved making people angry, because it's the normal thing to like people, you know, getting hurt. I get it. I do understand it. That's just it, is that I do. But yet, when you're doing that, it's a matter of you saying, I do want you to hurt, and I don't care what the consequence of that in your own life is, because I learned this. When you constantly make people angry, whenever you have somebody who's in a game and you have been somebody to contribute to their anger, your brain is going to do this. Every time you make a choice, your brain shifts and moves. We talk about the smooth brain thing, right? You know, people laugh about it. You know, oh, it's smooth brain. If only people were. The problem is that when you go to invoke a reaction out of somebody, you create a groove in their brain, and it says that when I am in this situation, act this way. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, this guy insulted me. Well, all these other people who I've watched be insulted, everybody normally in life, when they get insulted, they insult them back. So I understand that to be normal. I understand it to be the right reaction. That's what everybody does. When you get insulted, you insult back. So what happens is automatically that's where your default is. That's why it becomes really hard for people to get away from anger problems, because what has happened is they have constantly gotten to a situation that they were told they're supposed to get mad at, that they were taught that they're supposed to get mad at. Technically, there's a genetic part of that too, but I digress. But they were taught this, so that they're taught by everybody in life because everybody does it. They watch everybody else in life doing that, and they say, "You've wronged me. I'm going to tear you apart. I'm going to do what I can to try to beat you, and I'm going to beating you means insulting you, making you cry, making you feel upset. Like I shouldn't. And everybody else taught me that I shouldn't care because if you feel bad, because you yourself were doing wrong first. You deserve this." And it's like you, again, at that point, you see them finally get hurt, and then you're happy about it. Like, good, I succeeded. I won. And you let them live their life, and you destroyed them in some way. You caused some instance of hurt, and you didn't act as an example for something that would have been ideal, better. Like, let me put it this way. If you were to absolutely hate me, and you said every terrible thing about me, what if I responded like, okay, it's okay. I don't hate you.
It's quite literally what happened to me with somebody yesterday.
I understand.
Yeah, they were cussing me out, and I'm just like, I'm like,
yeah.
You can think whatever you want. I'm still gonna be your friend unless you, absolutely don't want to. And then,
yeah,
they figured out how much I care about them, and then they just be happy again, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's that where it's like, if I were to just make you angry, it's like what that does is it does the same thing that happens in DayZ. You insult somebody, you create another person who also wants to fight back because they want to feel good. You're trying to make them feel bad. You're giving them thoughts that are trying to invoke feelings of upset. Anger is one of those things. And so whenever I was younger, it's like I had to come to this point where I said, okay, I have this anger issue. And I remember I had a trash bag. I was trying to clean up. It was one of the jobs that I was doing, right? I was working at a gas station at that time, and I was working at the kiosk. Oh, it was a fun job. I got to learn so much because you can just sit there and read. That was one place that I got to read a lot of scripture. But again, going back to it, I was picking up the trash, and whenever I went to go pick up the trash, the whole thing ripped and trash goes everywhere. And I had this moment where I wanted to get angry, right? But I caught myself and I said, hold on, wait. First of all, nobody's doing anything wrong to me. This isn't like somebody doing anything wrong to me. It's a trash bag. I could not have stopped this. I didn't know that this was going to happen. And people don't treat you like that, by the way, in life. A lot of people think you messed up. If something like that happens, what are you doing? That people blame you, and it doesn't make sense. But recognizing it like this, it's this is a life instance where I couldn't have controlled this. I couldn't know what would have happened. And if I'm angry while trying to pick all this up, I'm upset, trying to pick up all this trash and put it in a new bag and whatnot, I'm still gonna have to clean it up. It's gonna be the same thing. I'm just gonna be upset while doing it. So why don't I just choose to let it go? Choose to be at peace with this. And so the next time what happened, and this is how it works in general, so I had a groove, right? So whenever I had a groove in my brain that said, when instances like this happen, trash bag rips, get angry. Your brain automatically tries to bring the emotion of anger to your mind, because it's like a river, right? You have a tiny stream at first, but over time it erodes that area and it becomes a gigantic stream. You have a tiny little stream, becomes a big river eventually. So the more that you feed into it, the harder it gets to clean it up. So I had a lot of these moments where something bad would happen and I'd get angry. My brain would go down that river. When you get at this interpass, turn left. Well, I finally said this. Okay, next time I'm going to change that. Something bad happened later on in the future, and I got angry, I said, no, I'm stopping it. I'm stopping now. Let's just do this. Let's just clean it up. Let's just fix this. Let's just fix this problem. And then the next time it happened, I did it again. Okay, I'm getting better at this. I'm able to do it quicker. So now I'm diverting the river to another choice. I'm diverting. When A comes, like when you have A plus B equal C. When trash bag rips,
A trash bag's always bad.
Trash bag, of course, But when trash bag rips,
Oh, the trash
react
bag.
by the trash bags. I only ever fixed my problem with the trash bag, but it's just I just hate trash bags in life. That's the thing. But no, it's like when something bad happens, I started teaching myself when something bad happens, when anger comes, choose peace instead. Until eventually, guess what? Anger didn't even come up anymore. And I just started becoming a person who, bad thing happens, and my immediate reaction was, okay, all right, well, let's clean it up. Let's fix it. And that's every part of your mind. Like, whenever it comes to like little ways that you act, teaching yourself to be at peace. It's like, why? Like, if somebody's going to insult you, why let yourself feel anger? Like, why not just be at peace at it? Because their words aren't forcing you to be angry. And so unless you choose that's the right reaction, unless you're choosing that anger is the right reaction in life, then that's all you. You don't have to choose that, because all of who you are is based off of all of the beliefs that you chose in life. And you didn't know, whenever you came to a problem in life, you didn't know what the right thing to do was. You didn't know what the right choice to do was. And a lot of times it's emotion driven. Like whenever it came to the trash, right? We'll talk about the trash because it's the example, right? But like, you have the trash, right? It's like naturally in life, whenever something goes wrong, the idea of getting angry is to say that, it's a natural reaction. Why? Because it's like, well, I have a want in life, and this is stopping me. This is making it harder on me, and so I have to fight it. For a lot of guys, anger is that option, right? And so it's like, when this happens, it's a path, it's an obstacle in my way, and anger is supposed to fuel me to be able to do this better. So what you do is you might like grab everything very fast, because like pick it off the ground. Like, you might even end up throwing some of it on the ground though as a result, but funny enough, making it harder for yourself. But it's like, depending on how angry you are, but it's like you're angry, and so your actions are reflecting this. It's like, you're grumbling to yourself maybe, and like you're picking it up, but there's no need to do that. Like, the thing is that it's not natural then for you to say, this is a problem that came up, like I was doing this and everything this is how the perfect example, like I've picked up many trash bags that never broke, and then all of a sudden one does. And the best thing for you to do is to recognize it and say, oh, okay, this is a new scenario now. There's nothing that tells you in life that you should be angry at this. Even whenever it comes to arguments, whenever somebody insults you, there's nothing in life that says that the proper response is for you to get angry, except for other people. Other people will tell you that the right thing for you to do is to get angry. Other people think so because they're being run by their feelings still. They're not thinking of how it works out in practice. They're not thinking of the technicals. And what's funny is that you can ask people, well, why? Why do I have to react with anger? And they can react. A lot of people will act with an emotional response. Well, it's obvious you should. Why is it obvious? I'll tell you why. It's obvious that you should react with anger because it's the immediate feeling. It is the immediate feeling. It's what everybody does. That's another excuse. It's what everybody does. Why does the majority have to decide that? I'm at peace. I'm not angry. Like, he's insulting me and I'm still okay. Stoicism. There's a word called stoicism. And you think of Spartans, right? You think of Master Chief. His entire personality is stoicism. Bad thing happens. Stone face. Nothing affects me. I do what needs to get done. I do the right thing. So I give this example to people all the time where you'll have like a king. What happens is he has a son, and his son goes out to war, and his son ends up dying in that war. And the king gets words of this. And the king becomes super depressed over this. Like, he becomes so sad that he stops really acting as king anymore. And the enemy ends up coming to his castle, and they're sieging everything, and they're breaking through, and his soldiers, his men, are coming up to him and saying, "What do we do, king? What do we do?" And he won't reply. And he lets his entire kingdom fall apart, all as a result of him being sad, rather than being stoic and saying, all of my sadness aside, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to fight this war. You're not getting rid of sadness entirely. There's a point for emotions. There's a point to process things. I'm going to push this aside, though, because I cannot let this affect my decisions right now. I need to be logical. I need to think about this, and I need to make sure that everybody lives. Get what needs to be done. Again, the example being like Master Chief, that idea of who he's supposed to be is he's the stereotypical soldier. When everybody else is terrified of the enemy and they're scared of what they're having to go into in war, whenever they're terrified and hiding behind their shields, this is the guy who goes forward and charges.
Yeah.
And he's able to deal with the enemy. And that's basically it.
Yeah, so that's about all I've really, that's all I've really got. Great talking to you.
For today.
Oh.
Yeah. Technically, if you would allow me,
Yeah.
Technically, if you would allow me, I could go on forever. But
thank you
I
for
respect your time.
meeting here. Yeah.
For sure. I'm glad to be here.
You too.
You're a good friend, so I care about you.
That is it. Please make an outro for me real quick. I can't talk.
Well, we appreciate everybody getting to listen, and we hope that in the future, I hope for sure that we get to have more chats like this.
I love cats.
Again, because I've got more to say, and I hope to get, of course I do, but hey,
yeah.
Maybe next time I'll get to
yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly, but
I'll cut the cameras.
Cut the
cams. Anyways, yeah,
I know. But
yeah, everybody.
Stay healthy.
Hope that was a good enough first video. It was. Let me see. How long has the music been playing? An hour 48 minutes long. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised my VR hasn't exploded. Yeah, my VR is already filled with a bunch of girl tag videos, so I mean, like, a lot. Like,
yeah.
I'm just scrolling through them right now.
No,
Anyways.
like a top.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, goodbye.
End this recording here.
Hope y'all have a great day. Hope Foley has a great day. Yeah. Stay safe, everybody, and yeah.
Oh,
bye.
Whoop, whoop. Takers.
Alrighty then.